Strap yourselves in, thriller fans. We're going to be diving into the twisted world of modern dating in 2023 with this upcoming movie called Cat Person. Now, don't let the title deceive you. This is a psychological thriller with a dark twist. But before we get into it, you know what comes up first.
Welcome to the Lights, Camera, Rant Podcast. Your source for the latest on movies, TV shows, and video games. Get ready for ranting, raving, and reviewing. Here is your host, Lee.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to another movie review. And as mentioned in my last one, we plan to make a lot more of these in future. My last one was Bring Him to Me, and now this one we're going to be diving into Cat Person. Now, this film does run for 190 minutes. This also was premiered at the Sundance Festival in January. Has been released in America, however, it's only releasing Australia here on November 23rd. So I'd like to say thank you very much for Studio Canal for giving me tickets to go see the advanced screening, which my expectations, I have to say, going into this movie to come out were completely different. That's why I mentioned is that when you hear the title, it is not, imagine, how can I put this? You know, I don't know if you remember the TV show called Catfishing. Imagine that turned up to 11. That's how this comes, and it's a dark reality of dating in 2023. So, Susanna Fogel, she directs this movie. She does a fantastic job all the way throughout. And this movie is actually based on a short story. This came out in 2017 that went viral. So this has been in the works for a little while. Now, yes, this film does take inspiration from it, but it's not the exact match from the story. So obviously, you know, with Hollywood, things tend to get a little bit twisted or go, you know, a little bit further on than normal as they would with anything it's saying based on. So this movie is starring Emilia Jones as Margot. You have known her from CODA and from Lock and Key. We've also got Nicholas Braun as Robert, who you've known from HBO Succession. And this movie is about a sophomore girl who studies anthropology at her college, but she knows more about that than she does. So she does know about the humankind. And then she also works at a local movie theater. Now, this is where she bumps into Robert, who's a little bit of a moviegoer himself, a little bit awkward, nervous, which when watching, I was a bit like, oh, not the dark stuff of this movie, but just I was like, oh, that's it's very close to home. And they start dating, they start talking to each other, which starts to happen. It sounds really nice, but that's when it starts declining, which I could very much relate to before I was in my relationship, when obviously texting and dating apps know how it felt. And as it goes, it becomes a little bit more dark, a little bit more awkward. And even though there's some scenes that how this movie starts off is not how I expected it to end. So, as mentioned, the MA 15+. Now, this movie, at the very start of it, has a very dark... Now, I will go to spoiler territory, and if you don't want to hear it, please go and you watch the movie and come back to this review. But don't worry, I won't spoil too much, but we will go vague onto it. So, as we're going into it, we see that at the very start, Margaret, I will do it. Margaret has this weird flash at the very start of the film after she tries to save a dog from the rain, which ends up with like blood everywhere. One of her apartment people who she's living with sees her dead and killed, and blood everywhere. And that's in the first 5 minutes of the movie, and I was like, whoa, okay, a little bit dark and twisted, and we're expecting now. From that vibe, you would instantly go where you think this is going to go. Girl's going to text guy, guy's going to find out he's a serial killer, or he's going to dump her body into the river, or send into ice. That doesn't happen at all. So it does start off that way. So Nicholas does a fantastic job as Robert, the awkward guy. He find out that he's gone to the movies multiple times to meet her, and he gives her a number, very awkwardly, must say. gives it to her, and then they start texting, and that's where the movie starts to go. Now, I will mention for the 119 minutes runtime, must admit, I did not find myself checking the watch. This does keep it for beat to beat. There's probably one low point in the middle of it, but besides that, at either end, it just keeps the pace keeps going, which is really good. As they start texting, you do find out that Robert is very slow on texting, and the same thing rules as in that you do here in Everett, thanks to Margaret's friend. She does say you never text twice. You don't do this. You don't say this word. And for me, it was like, yep, I've been told that. Don't do this while texting. But she does it all because she's looking for that connection, and she's very attracted to him. And he is an older guy. Now, she does go away. To go see her family, which is. It's a nice little thing. She does go see her family. We get a little bit more background and why she's a bit disconnected because her parents are divorced. And what doesn't help is that she does also see her ex-boyfriend, which she also finds asexual. So that dims her down as she's trying to figure this all out. How much she likes this guy and what she should do. Now, as it continues on, they go on to go have a second date. Now, each moment she does see Robert, she does have these flashes of it all going terribly wrong. Either he's strangling her, he killing her in different ways. Also has these like out-of-body moments, which is really weird. For a couple of moments, you're not too sure whose out-of-body experience it is between either Robert or Margaret, but it keeps the pace going, and it's just that little bit different like you would expect, but it's still the same vibe for dating all the way through. Now, obviously, something that some people do all experience is that awkward time when you go to someone's house and have an uneventful intercourse or coitus, as on Big Bang Theory, as she does have, where she does have an out-of-body moment. Well, Robert falls in love with her. He's 100%. He loves movies. He also kisses her and tries to kiss her the same way as Harrison Ford kisses Princess Leia in Empire Strikes Back. He's that much of a movie nerd, which is such an awkward scene, but we've all been there. So this movie is very relatable until the very end, which Margaret goes on that she doesn't want to see him anymore because of what's happened. And because of Margaret's friend, she automatically sends a text to him saying, "I'm not interested, I'm done." And he says to her, obviously I thought everything was going well, I respect your decision. Now, as the movie continues to progress, you do see that she does go out for dinner. He's there, that awkward moment, and then that's where all these texts start flooding in, him going at her, the frustration, and obviously the W word you never say to a woman, and it's H-O-R-E, he says to her, because he's so annoyed, so frustrated, and that's when she becomes more scared. She goes by his weapons, knives, all a tracker, and then as it continues on, she also goes to house to track his vehicle, which turns into a massive fight, and I will leave it at that. I won't go any further, we'll leave it to that. But for this 119-minute runtime, an MA 15 plus rating, it's a very dark and twisted version of dating, but at the very end, I must admit, as you always think it's always going to be the guy that's going to kill, always going to attack her. At the end of it, I found myself rooting for Robert. I was like, you know what, I feel for him. And I understand him. I'm obviously, there'll be a lot of people that will root for Margaret, but I root for Robert. And when you see the ending, it's very understandable why he's all like that. His frustration, what's going on, and It's conveyed really well. Even when I got to the end of the movie, I was like, when you go see a movie, you always want to look and go, you want to make you keep thinking after. Keep thinking, okay, what, this and this and this. You don't want to go to a movie and go, that was all right. If a movie has done a movie to do a really good job is to make you keep thinking after those credits roll, which this movie does. And it's a very highly debatable movie as well. So my partner and I, we were still talking about on the 50-minute car ride home. We were talking about different points here and there. And that's when I thought to myself, I was like, actually, you know what? That movie did exactly the right job. It creates that conversation. And obviously, it goes a little bit further than that short story, but hits it on the nail 100%. So if you're looking for a thinker, a thriller, and something that's going to create a good conversation and some good acting, a little bit norm, obviously, from what you might be listening to or watch, I highly recommend this movie. Go buy your ticket. Put your butt in the seat and come back to me after you watch it, because I would love to discuss this with you guys more, but it's got my ticket of approval. Definitely go see it. It will keep you on the edge of your seat straight at the end. And for me, it's a complete win. Doesn't need a sequel. No, there's no sequel. But at the very end, it does lead to something that I think we've all been there as well. And you do understand. But there's no sequel. This is a one-off, one-and-done film. But definitely watch this with your partner. I'm very curious. But 100% approval, yes, and go watch it. Now, thank you very much for joining me for this review. I'd love to know your feedback, the good and the bad, but this is my top pick for November. Indie film to go see, so go see it. So until next time, happy rant.
Thanks for listening to Lights, Camera, Rant. If you like the show, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. While you're at it, leave us a rating and review, and be sure to tell your friends. Until next time, happy ranting.